Hello everyone, welcome back to The Media Couple. I'm Rory.
And I'm Sophie.
Where we break down the latest in film, TV and entertainment from an insider's perspective.
Yes, we do. Today on the agenda, we have some good stuff. We are going to be talking all about the Brit Crew documentary that Josh Pieters just put out.
Yes.
It's actually two-parter on YouTube called What Happened to the Brit Crew.
Yep.
And then we're going to be talking about a interesting PR situation.
Yes.
With Ofcom.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then at the very end, we have a Rotten Tomatoes game all about documentaries. So stick around for the end. That's always fun. Let's see if Rory is going to get it correct today.
Obviously I am.
He won't.
I always
Spoiler.
win. No, I always lose. That's the historical thing on this podcast.
It is.
It's just me losing again and again.
Yeah.
But hey, I still turn up every week.
You do.
Exactly.
You do.
Exactly.
Anyways, let's jump into it. What happened to the Brit Crew? Mm-hmm. So you haven't watched this. I've watched this. And I think it was good that you didn't watch it because then you can give an unbiased opinion on what happened to the Brit Crew without having any bias.
Yeah, exactly. I'll just sit here and be like, what did happen to them?
Exactly. You'll never know. Basically, it's a two-part documentary series posted by Josh Pieters on his YouTube.
Yeah. Josh
Pieters, if you remember, was sort of Brit Crew adjacent. So the Brit Crew is basically filled with, I'd say they're now influencers. Zoella, Alfie Days, Tanya Burr, Jim Chapman, Marcus Butler, Naomi Smart,
Joe
Sugg, Jack Scapp, Louise Pentland, who is Sprinkle of Glitter. Am I missing anybody else? I don't think
could potentially be a few more in there.
There could potentially, but those I feel were they were like the big YouTubers from 2010, right? Who were the ones who were basically had every kid and teen in a chokehold. They rose to fame so fast, and by doing not the most groundbreaking content on online as we would now know it.
Kind of just like vlogs and stuff mainly, wasn't it?
It was groundbreaking then because what they managed to do, and this is what the documentary talks about, what they managed to do was really capitalize on their relationship.
Yeah. Their
relationships with one another, and people loved them for their personalities.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, the YouTube landscape's very different. And the content that they would put out back then, which would get 1 million views, you would not get 1 million views on nowadays.
No.
And the documentary talks a little bit about that, but I don't think it's the documentary that I'm so much interested in talking about. Yes, it was interesting. It was okay. It brought me back. It was okay.
Yeah, kind of just like a look back at the past.
I was interested in it because I remember watching all the Brit Crew.
Yeah, it must have been,
when I was younger, and I was like, oh, this is interesting to watch now. But it definitely wasn't a documentary in terms of having the investigative rigor that you would necessarily expect.
Yeah, it was kind of just like a look back in time, and nice to see what they're all getting up to nowadays, basically.
Exactly. Well, some of them, because the big ones, Zoella and Alfie, which I think was actually interesting. And I would argue they were sort of the core of the Brit Crew. They weren't in it.
Oh, interesting.
And Joe Sugg, who was interviewed, who is
Zoella's
brother. He did an interview, but after the first episode went out, he redacted his interview. Basically asked for it not to be broadcast. So I think it was interesting. It was a little bit critical of Zoella and Alfie, mainly for not being in it.
Yeah, obviously.
But this brings me to my point of what I wanted to say about this and why I think this is interesting to talk about now. Basically, Josh Pieters was the one who was making this documentary.
Yeah.
He knew them, knows them, was adjacent to them, essentially, kind of part of that crew. Casper Lee, that's who we forgot.
Casper Lee.
He was South African, like Casper Lee, kind of part of that group. He is known for making prank videos, celebrity prank videos.
Yeah.
Specifically Katie Hopkins, if you remember.
Yeah.
I think he was the one. Yes.
Yeah.
So that's what his channel was big for. So him going into documentary space in the way that he has framed this, he has called this a documentary in the title.
Yeah.
It's shot and presented like a serious documentary. But he's not really got the credentials to make a documentary. And it reads as an okay documentary. I wouldn't say it doesn't really, for me, fulfill the criteria of what a documentary is, which is investigative, rigorous, factual. You know, there's his bias in there, and of being somebody who was part of that.
Yeah.
And you know, it's not. It's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's almost like for a younger sort of generation of filmmakers where, you know, their whole thing was kind of like vlogging and prank videos. I kind of feel like the more mature they've obviously become, the more they feel like, oh, I can't really just call this like a flashback to the past of the Brit Crew. Like putting the word documentary in the title itself kind of gives it more weight.
Yeah.
It makes it feel more investigative.
Yeah.
Because then the viewer reads that and thinks, okay, well, I'm obviously going to get a deep dive into this. Maybe I'll, you know, find out some personal information or some new information, or, you know, I'll have to learn something off the back of this.
Yeah.
But the way you're describing the show is actually a bit more like, oh no, it was kind of just like you imagine us playing old tapes from back in the day from 10, 15 years ago. And then, you know what I mean?
It was kind of like a Where Are They Now?
Yeah.
That's kind of what it felt like, as opposed to like a segment that you'd see on TV. It was kind of just very nostalgic.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think that's the point of a documentary, isn't it? The points are it has to sort of have an investigative element, and also you have to walk away from a documentary feeling like you've learned something about a particular issue.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to say that I didn't learn anything from this. I just think it kind of leans more entertainment to me than it does documentary. But I think it's interesting that they're using the word documentary.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't know if I necessarily feel like that's the right term, but it also is in the backdrop of there's so many celebrity documentaries, presented documentaries at the moment. And it feels like, I mean, this is something that I think I wanted to talk about as well. It feels like a little bit like these kinds of documentaries are an extension of an influencer's brand, as opposed to
interesting one.
Something that is really genuinely supposed to be about the story. I feel like with the Brit Crew one, for example, there's a little bit of a conflict of interest for Josh in making this. Like, he's putting it up on his platform. He was part of that. It's like, are you just trying to continually, you know, capture what was then and just kind of remarket it because it's now your brand, and looking like you're credible helps your brand because people are going away from the prank videos? Probably.
Yeah, that's probably what's going on there a bit, yeah. Is
that a bad thing? No, not necessarily. That's how the world works.
Of
that's
course,
how influencing
it's how you evolve,
works.
yeah.
It's how you, and yeah, he's right, like fair enough to evolve. But I don't know if at the moment, the trend that we're seeing where there's so many of these kinds of celebrity-focused, influencer-focused and led documentaries, are we losing the flavor of what a real investigative, serious documentary and how that's made? Are we losing that?
I think so. I mean, it's funny that you mentioned that because it feels a little bit like everybody's a documentary filmmaker nowadays.
Yes,
right?
Exactly.
Yes. And I think the issue that you have is when you have a reality star, let's say if you have someone on Instagram who's really big or TikTok or whatever, when it's a presenter-led doc, it's difficult because they're trying to balance their personal brand with the weight of the story itself and then also the weight that's put on them by a public service broadcaster, for example. So if someone like ITV or BBC are hiring an influencer to lead a documentary, it's kind of like, I'm trying to find the words here, but like almost what gives them the authority to go and tell that story? Do you know what I mean?
Well, I think as well, it's also that like, are people watching for the story or are people watching for them?
Yeah, it's a great point.
Right? Which it's not a bad thing if people are watching for them, but then does that make it documentary? I don't think so. No. I think that makes it entertainment, right? But branding it as documentary gives it this gravitas and this weight. Like Panorama make documentaries.
Yeah.
Who is Panorama?
Yeah.
Right? There's no one face of Panorama.
You know what's kind of interesting, like what you're saying about the influencers? It's a bit like, you know, when Gemma Collins had her show, which was like Following Me Round, the GC, and you'd like go with her to a shoot she's doing in Manchester or, you know, something in like a studio and then like her friends. It's a little bit along that vibe.
Yes.
Just thrown in. It's like...
It's just more serious topics.
Exactly.
And that's fine. I'm not saying that that kind of content shouldn't be made. I just think that that kind of content at the moment seems to be the only thing that's being made when it comes to documentary. And I don't understand why.
Well, I think... Yeah. I mean, well, to answer that from like my perspective, I think it's because the public service broadcasters are kind of like, what can we do to get involved in this digital space?
Yeah.
Because we're really struggling over on terrestrial.
Yeah.
So either we, and it's kind of like a perfect thing. You look at ITV, you know, they make the stars from Love Island.
Yeah.
If they feel like that candidate is good enough, they're like, hey, do you want to lead this documentary and be a presenter?
Yeah.
I mean, for them, you're kind of like, well, yeah, I'm winning like entirely because I can leave the sort of reality Instagram model like life behind a bit and become a bit more serious, and then maybe people start to look at me as a serious journalist. Yeah, gives credibility. Exactly.
Yeah, you're right. These broadcasters are giving these kinds of shows to them, and it feels like where's like the weighty documentaries?
I feel like that's the thing. I mean, we've spoken about it personally, haven't we? Like, where is the next Louis Theroux?
Yeah, because
where is Stacey Dooley? Like, where are those type of people who like? Well, I like 15 years ago, I used to watch Louis on TV, and now I want to be like them.
Because I think that's the point, right? You look at Louis Theroux and Stacey Dooley. Yes, presenter. They are now very much celebrities within their own space,
and have like a big social presence.
But they're not known for their personal brand. They're known for stories,
exactly,
right, and telling stories a specific way, whereas an influencer is known for their personality, not for telling a story a specific way, but for just being there and giving their opinions on certain situations, right? So when it comes to watching Louis Theroux or Stacey Dooley, you're watching that in the background knowing that what they're talking about is and what they're trying to platform and put at the forefront is the story. But when you're watching an influencer documentary, it feels like you're watching something that is an extension of their personal brand.
Yes, I get what you mean.
They're trying to buy some of the credibility from the documentary world to help them. So it doesn't feel like it's authentic.
No.
And that's where that disconnect, for me at least, is showing up, because I'm like, but this is just good for your personal brand. It's not actually that. I can't tell if you care or not, because to me, like, I can't make a distinction between the two.
Yeah, it's a fair point.
Whether or not they do or don't is neither here nor there. Like, I'm sure a lot of these influencers who do these kinds of docs care deeply, but that's not the way that our media has presented them. It doesn't do it.
I almost think as well sometimes, like I get the point you're saying, and it's a good point. I think as well, it's really hard sometimes for us as like members of the public to detach sometimes from what people were in their past. You know what I mean? It's almost like, we see them as Love Island stars. We saw them on TV in that fashion. And then for us, it's kind of like, oh, why are they going to talk about something really serious? And why would I listen to them?
Yeah, because I know them from the entertainment space.
Yeah, or if I follow them online, it's like, oh, well, they never talk about that on their personal platforms. Why are they now talking about it on a documentary like the BBC have commissioned or ITV or Channel 4? Why am I going to care? Oh, well, the only reason I'm going to care is because I follow them on Instagram.
Because I like their personal brand.
Exactly.
Not what they talk about. They could be talking about a shoebox, you know? And like, if I like them as a person, I'm going to watch that documentary that they're making about a shoebox. That'd be one
interesting shoebox.
But that's where I think the disconnect, maybe that's where the disconnect is for me, is that I want to watch these documentaries for the story of the people in the documentary.
Yeah.
But what's happening is I'm being shown documentaries that you should want to watch because of the person who's presenting it. And I'm like, but that's where I can't reconcile the two. I don't want to watch something for the person who's presenting it. I would rather watch an entertainment show with them in it if I want to watch them.
Like for how brilliant Louis Theroux is, right? You watch his documentaries because he goes and interviews and talks about very tough subjects.
Yeah.
And it's like enlightening, and you walk away. So I said earlier, you walk away from it going, oh, I really learned something from watching that.
It doesn't matter if it's, well, I mean, now it matters whether it's Louis Theroux or not, but back in the day when he was first making them, it didn't matter whether it was Louis Theroux or somebody else who was making it. Yeah, well,
right? Yeah, well, you didn't know him, did you really?
Yeah, whereas now it feels like these celebrity-led documentaries, it matters.
Of course it
who
does.
the celebrity is.
I guess
because the story that they're talking is personal to them.
Exactly, yeah. And I guess it's like a financial thing, right? Like, public service broadcasters are more and more stressed. Budget's getting tighter. They're like, how is the best way to sell this? Well, I need my marketing machine to be in the film I'm making.
Yeah. And I don't think what we're saying is not a comment on influencers being in documentaries.
Absolutely
I
not.
don't think that's a bad thing. I think there's a space for them, but I don't understand why that's all we're seeing right now. And that it feels to me like that is predominantly the, forward way we're going forward.
Do you remember, like, we talked, this was ages ago on a pod, but we talked about the middle jobs.
Yeah.
The middle jobs going, right? You're always going to have the high-end documentary films, Icarus, big documentary films.
Fahrenheit 9/11.
Fahrenheit 9/11. And you're like, okay, great. Wow, this is like the level of documentary that can still be produced and will always be produced.
Yeah.
But those middle ones, the ones that you see on TV a lot, like sort of 9 o'clock-ish, a lot of them do just appear to be influencer-led.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I just don't understand why that is the case, because I think there's space for them, but there's also space for that serious investigative, documentary reporting as well. And I don't feel like we're seeing it. And it just feels like it's just one avenue. And it's like, is this because broadcasters can't think of anything else? I'm like, that's so sad. Like, come on.
Yeah.
It's like, if you seriously can't think of how to join the digital world apart from using influencers, guys, bye-bye.
Yeah.
Like,
I think it's difficult. I think it's a little bit like reflective of I'm talking about TV in the UK. It's like, look at Hollywood, why is the reboot always on the table? Because it's like safe IP, it will guarantee the numbers, we'll get them in. Yeah. And ultimately that's what they're trying to do with documentaries here now.
Yeah, people, ultimately, like, we have to remember, like, story. Story is the most important thing, Like, I get it that you want to have a celeb in your documentary, but, like, sometimes the shoe doesn't fit.
No, it doesn't, all right? Not everyone, okay? It's Cinderella. Okay?
Exactly.
Right?
Not everyone is
Some
Louis
people
Theroux.
are Rory, okay? That's it.
Yeah, not everyone is Louis Theroux, and that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's okay.
Well, it's funny that you sort of bring this up, because I don't know if you've seen, but Ofcom have sort of come out and they've warned that the UK public service broadcasters, so your Channel 4s, ITV, BBC, are under threat.
Yeah.
And they're basically under threat with...
how many years have we been saying this?
We've been saying it a long time. I feel like one of our first ever episodes was YouTube is coming for us all, and the public service broadcasters better be very scared. And it seems like Ofcom are now stepping in. Basically, they've written a report. They're pushing this out to sort of YouTube and advising the government get involved. Right, they are actually wanting the UK government to
tell YouTube, right?
Yes, they want the UK government to tell YouTube that public service broadcast content should be backed heavily on YouTube and basically should be pushed a lot more.
If I was YouTube, I'd just be like, ha!
Ha! The old moguls are come to the new ones, huh? But you see, it's interesting because, like, what we're talking about there,
shoulda,
right?
Coulda, woulda,
we're talking right from one perspective. I kind of understand it, okay? Because public service broadcasters. We've spoken about the BBC in many different ways over the course of this podcast, but
I know I feel like the BBC, like, is just
they're constantly on this show. They're constantly. It's a love-hate relationship, okay? But it's like I feel like those public service broadcasters are important, okay? Because they provide news. There's like a cultural element. You've spoken about before how the BBC is British, right? And that is hard. That's a part of our identity. And from a film and TV perspective, some people love the BBC, right?
Some people hate it.
Exactly. But
you don't have to tell us how much you hate it. We have heard you.
We've heard it. We've heard you. Okay. So I think there is a significance in keeping these broadcasters alive. Okay. Mm-hmm. But the thing that I find a little bit hard, it's a little bit like what you just said. And if it takes Ofcom writing to YouTube and being like, hey guys, you've got to start backing the shows that are produced by these broadcasters on the channels that they've created. I kind of feel like on YouTube, it's like, yeah, but this has been going for a very long time. And then you're also coming and basically being like, oh, we feel we should be dominating a space over all the other independent content creators. Yeah. And
it's not very democratic, is it?
It's not very democratic. No. And they've asked the government to back it.
Yeah.
And they're actually, this is actually moving quite quick. They've basically pushed they've pushed the government for an answer on this, and it needs to be decided by 2026.
I mean, I think it's really interesting. I'm very interested to see where YouTube goes with this and how they say this, because not being funny, but sorry guys, if people don't like watching your content on your free platforms,
like talk about iPlayer,
what makes you think they're going to watch your free content on YouTube? I think the problem you might be facing here isn't that you are being outwon by YouTube. It's that young people don't want to watch your stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's extremely difficult because like the age demographic of it's for them, they're talking specifically about like cultural shows and children's TV, right? But YouTube Kids is so massive. It has so many popular channels. I just kind of feel a little bit like as well, like, I mean,
if they'd made Miss Rachel, all the kids would be watching Miss Rachel on whichever broadcaster, but they didn't make Miss Rachel.
Yeah.
That's the point.
Exactly. I get what you mean.
Right?
I mean, I feel like that's the problem. It's like, I feel like we've kind of missed the boat a little bit here because it's like, you know, these shows have been being made on YouTube because they were pitched to broadcasters back in the day and the broadcasters couldn't see a future with that show.
The TV industry has been a closed shop for years. Forever, to be completely honest. It's not been democratic. It's not let outsiders in. It's been a who's who and who knows who club. That's worked for them for years and years and years until YouTube came along. And YouTube was like, actually, there's lots of people out there with great ideas who can make great content, but just don't have the opportunity to get it out in front of people. Here's the system that you can get it out in front of people. And it's grown and grown and grown. And all of a sudden, now all the broadcasters who were not giving the opportunities to those people on YouTube are now going, oh, wait, but all our audience has gone over there because they're making good content.
And as well,
now they want a slice of the pie. It's like, I'm sorry. That's not how this world works. You shut the door for loads of those content creators. You didn't let them in. Now you want YouTube to come in?
I kind of feel as well, like, look, I kind of feel like this.
Made your bed, you lie it.
Yeah, definitely. I get it. I kind of feel like this as well. Anyone who starts a YouTube channel knows how difficult it can be. Hello. Knows how difficult it can be. And I feel like the reason YouTube is great is because everyone started from the same. Right. Most people started from the same level. Right. And then they've grown those channels and put loads of effort in. Shouldn't the public service broadcasters just have to do the same?
Well, yeah. And
also, like, why should it be backed and like pushed on YouTube more than any other creator out there? You know, why should that? It should be like, well, no, if their shows they're producing are good enough and the ideas are good enough, it will grow.
And also, at what point does it become, okay, hang on, so the public service broadcasters now get to go and be pushed on YouTube? Well, why doesn't a charity that does content for kids get pushed on YouTube? If they set up a charity and all they do is making content for kids, why shouldn't they get the same opportunity?
Yeah, I mean, it creates. I think for YouTube, it would be a bit of a. I feel like if I was the YouTube CEO, I'd just go, look, I don't want to start any of this. Okay, you have your channel and go and publish your content.
Welcome to the world democratized.
Yeah, like we're all in the same room with good ideas and we're all shouting at each other saying, watch this.
Exactly. It's like, if your content's good enough, people will come and watch. If it's not good enough, people won't come and watch. I'm sorry, but and who set that system up?
The broadcasters. Yeah.
You know, you set the system up. The system has now turned into something that's not working for you. And you're going, help me, Ofcom. And it's like, sorry.
And Ofcom are like, look, I'm going to put in a good word with you. Yeah. All right, good word for you.
Like YouTube can't do that. Can you imagine if YouTube did that? What they would then have to give, what does that, what precedent does that set? Then it's like as well, like that's just in the UK. But what precedent does that set for the United States?
Yeah, it's not good.
Right?
Yeah.
Then they would have to give rise to the United States public broadcasters, right? Who we know are not quite necessarily as, unbiased.
Can have a problem with impartiality sometimes. Exactly. Absolutely. Yeah, it's a grey area. Yep.
Exactly. And then what does that put? YouTube then has to make a decision about which ones they do and which ones they don't show. And it's like, no, you can't. Like, I'm sorry, that's just not how it works. Like, if people don't want to come to you guys to watch stuff, that's a you problem.
Yeah.
That's not a YouTube problem.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I feel like that's the thing.
I don't feel sorry for them.
I feel like that's the thing. It's like, but I feel like this sort of ties into your point earlier.
Yeah.
It's their answer to this now is, okay,
government help me.
Yeah, they're asking for the government to help them, and Ofcom is sort of warning that we could see the collapse of public service broadcasters if they don't have enough presence online. But in reality, it's kind of like, well, they should be pushing their own presence, and really, it's like it's up to themselves to sort of save themselves.
Yeah, and also I think it's like we live in a capitalist society. Yeah. Right. Okay, yeah. If we lived in a different type of society, a socialist society or some other kind of society, then fine.
But remember as well,
we don't.
But remember as well, we still all do contribute. We all pay a TV license. We do contribute to the survival of our biggest public service broadcaster here. Yeah, we do contribute to it.
Yep.
And
and I don't disagree with that, but they have their own platform.
Of course, yeah,
so
exactly.
If you can't, and if they are not making content that we pay for that is good enough to keep it alive.
Yeah, and to grow it on a YouTube channel organically.
Yeah, then, okay, that seems like maybe the people who are making your content and are commissioning your content and are deciding what goes and what doesn't go don't really have a handle on what people want to watch.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, brutally, that's what that says. Yeah. And if you can't turn that around...
Well, then it's,
Then bye.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that's just the way the world works.
100%.
And you can't get Ofcom to tell you.
No, you can't get them, okay?
Maybe they will. Maybe YouTube will. When we eat our words. Who knows?
Oh, imagine. I mean, I will be writing to YouTube then. Excuse me, can you grow my channel?
Yeah. How much money do I have to pay?
Ofcom wrote to me as well. I think it's really important that my channel gets bigger.
Like, what kind of a mad thing is that?
I mean, it is. It does. It feels quite bizarre.
like your parents writing a note for you at school, being like, "Oh, you have to give them like special treatment because their feelings were hurt," and it's like, just no, absolutely not. It's so ridiculous. I can't even believe that.
Hey, look, they're just going to get more Love Islanders to do documentaries. That's the way.
Listen, and good for the Love Islanders.
Yeah, fair play.
Good for the Love Islanders. Anyways,
have we got a Rotten Tomatoes game?
Yes, moving on to a Rotten Tomatoes game.
Going for the win.
So this one is incidentally about documentaries.
Great.
So if you don't know what the Rotten Tomatoes game is, I mean, okay, here we are. Basically, I tell Rory a title of a film or a documentary in this case. He tells me what he thinks the critics and audience score is. I tell him if he's right or wrong. We talk about the film and then we move on. That's basically it in a nutshell. It's pretty simple.
Exactly. And I always get everything right. And I always win. So
anyways, so first one, Emmy Award winning, 13th.
13th.
Remember that one?
Audience score.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Audience score, 88. Critically, 93.
Wow. Audience score, 88.
Come on. What did I say?
Critic score, 97.
Oh, what did I say? 93.
You were close. That's good.
It's all right. It's all right. It's good to it's good not to win all the time.
You did what?
Yeah, it's cool. Keeps me grounded.
Exactly. Icarus. You actually mentioned this.
I did. Yeah. Shout out Icarus. I actually love that documentary. That's a really good documentary.
Icarus, I think, is one of my favorite documentaries ever.
That was a really, really good documentary.
Investigative, real, didn't know who the guy was.
Really interesting story.
Yeah. Really interesting story. Yeah.
Which goes to show that if the story
not presenter-led.
No, we know it would have been made better by Love Island leading it. I'm going to just guess now.
So you're really hating on Love Islanders. Love Islanders are not the only culprits.
No, I know. Loads of different ones. Yeah. Audience score, 95. Critically, 100.
Wow. Okay. Critically, 97%. Oh. Audience, 92%.
92.
I mean, it did win an Oscar, so fair enough for you thinking 100%.
I just thought 100 critically because it did win the Oscar, so I was like, come on. But that's fine.
No, we don't have a certified fresh.
Certified fresh.
No, we don't. Making a Murderer.
Oh, I really liked that. I liked the first season.
I feel like
the first film. Was it a film?
It was a season.
It was a season.
Series, yeah.
Season. It was a season.
Autumn.
Winter. Murderer. What were you going to say?
No,
I have to guess.
Yeah.
Audience score 90, critically 93.
Yes, critically 93%. Well done. You saw these before.
No, I didn't. I'm just aiming like...
No, I can see that little wry smile.
I did not see them. I didn't.
I think he looked.
I don't think I looked.
He's got 2 outright so far. I mean,
Maybe
normally, bear in mind, normally it's 0.
Maybe I'm just good at this game.
No. 95%. Right. We know from
to
history.
Be fair, historically, I'm very bad at this game.
Audience score is 95%. So you were close on that one. Last one, Bowling for Columbine.
Oh, I love this documentary. See, where's like a Michael Moore documentaries, you know?
Exactly, that's my point.
Yeah, where have they gone?
Yeah.
Not Michael Moore himself, but like the next Michael Moore.
Yes, exactly. I agree. They're not making these kinds of shows anymore. They're not making these kind of documentaries. They're not putting the money into making these things because they want to be digital.
Anyways,
Bowling for Columbine.
Bowling for Columbine. I'm going to go for 97% audience, 100% critically. No, 98% critically.
Okay, so it did win the Oscar and also 96% critically and 90% audience. You were so close. 2 out of 10. I think that might actually be the best you've ever done.
I think it is. So
2 out of 10. Actually, no, it was actually 2 out of 8 because we only had 4. Yeah, so 2 out of 8.
2 out of 8.
So percentage-wise, you actually are doing quite well.
I'm pretty close to being certified fresh.
Quarter of them you got right.
Quarter of them. So I'm quarter good.
Yeah. Let's go with that.
I really like that. That fills me with confidence. And on that bombshell.
Yes. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. We put these out every single Thursday. So do make sure you are subscribed to get notified about the next one that goes out. And if you are listening, thank you for listening. Please do leave us a review. It does help other people find us. Anyways, we will see you next week with a new episode. But thanks for being here for now. Anyways, bye.
Thank you. Bye.